Hi, welcome to our talk tutorial. My name is Mohammed. So in this tutorial, I'm going to create a 2-node RAC database using response file, and later I'll create a shared disk for creating the disk group for archive logs, because the database will be created in no archive log mode. And after adding the disk, I'll convert the database into archive log mode. And the version of this database would be Oracle 11g release 2 version. So I'm logging to the first node and ensure the ASM or the cluster services are running. So ASM is running on this node, ASM1 instance. The CRSCTL status resource -t command we will use to check the cluster resources, like all they are up and running. See, like ASM is started, showing started, and scan listeners are also there. It's running. They are all online. So the resources which are offline, it shows offline for that resource, like, and the scan listeners are online, and the virtual IPs are online. So I'm switching to Oracle user, and we'll go into the bash profile to check the database name, I mean the Oracle SID, Oracle unique name, the ERPPR. I'm choosing the name ERPPR, and Oracle home is set. Oracle SID is ERPPR1. So the two instances will be created with name ERPPR11, and on the second node the instance name would be ERPPR12. So we have validated the bash profile entries on first node, then checking the environment, env, then pipe grep-i ora. So just to ensure the environment is set. Okay, Oracle host name is there. I'm opening a new session for second node. Okay, so I am into Oracle home. Go to bash profile on second node and validate the same Oracle unique name and Oracle home, and the base location and the SID ERPPR2. Okay, so I'm going to the directory where I have copied the database software and uncompressed it. So going to the response directory, backup software database response. There you get dbca.rsp response file that we need to append. So there we need to give the database name, host name, and all the configuration that we need to do for this new database. So version is already there, like 11.2.0 version is there, and operation type, like it has multiple operation types. So I am selecting create database. It has other options too, like delete database also. Like if you want to drop the database, you can select drop delete database. Here it will drop it. Okay, then global database name, the database name is ERPPR. Okay, SID ERPPR 1. And in the node list, we provide all the nodes that will run this Oracle database in cluster. Like I have two nodes, VRAC host x1 and VRAC host x2, so it's comma separated. And template name, leave it as it is, like general purpose, and then give the password. Make sure the password is as per the Oracle recommendation, like one letter should be in uppercase, or one integer or number, numeric character. Otherwise, when you run the run installer, it will show the warning like the password is not set as per the Oracle recommendation. Okay, going down. So storage type is ASM. Give ASM, and then disk group is data, because we have data disk group for all the data files for system, sysocs, undo table space, temp table space, all will be stored on data disk group on shared location. And give the password. Character set is that you need to provide, and we need to be careful while setting up the character set, like AL32 UTF-8, and national character set is AL16 UTF-16. So these two are allowed. So though we have many other choices for the character set, but these are the recommended one. And sample schema, like if you need schemas like Scott, HR, just for practice purpose, you can set it to true, else you can set it to false. Memory percentage would be the RAM allocation, like how much RAM will be given to the Oracle database to run, like 15%. Like if we have 3 GB, so 15% of 3 GB RAM will be allocated to this database, and database type would be multi-purpose. And in Oracle 11G we have a new feature of like memory, like automatic memory management. So if you want memory target to be set, like if you want SGA and PGA auto-tuned or combined, so you can set it to true, else if we want to set SGA target and PGA target, then give false. So it would be automatic shared memory management. Total memory is 800, so this 800 MB will be distributed among SGA and PGA. So 600 MB will be given to SGA and 200 to PGA. So no other modification required. So I believe we are good to save this file and execute run installer to create the database. So all these are other services that it provides, like delete database and creating the template. So we are going to Oracle Home and bin and check the DBC is there. So we use a DBC utility to run this to create the database by using response file. So it's under the DBCA location is under Oracle Home bin directory. So /DBCA-silent and have a response file give the path of the response file, that is dbca.rsp file. So once it validates like everything is fine in the response file, then it starts creating the database or copying the database files. So it will take some time, around 15 to 20 minutes to create the database. So it will show you the progress also, like 1% completed or 20%, 30%. So it will show you. So at 30% it's creating and starting the Oracle instance on one node. Okay, now it's creating the cluster database views. Okay, so it's completing the database creation. Okay, so database creation is over. So you can check the log. It shows you the log location. So you will get the same output over there, like in the log file also. So just check whether instance is running. Yeah, so instance is running, erppr11. So in Oracle SID, we need to let me check whether we are able to log into database or not with this setting. Okay, so we set the database environment by using .ora-env, and it reads the etc oratab file. So in oratab file, go to etc oratab file and make the changes. Like we need to give the instance name over here, erppr11, and the database dbca creates one entry with the database name erppr1. So that is created by the dbca, and the instance name we need to put it manually. Now we need to give erppr11 here to set the environment. Okay, so erppr is already entered. So we need not to make any changes so I revert the change I made. Okay, so now we are logged in to database. Now check the name, open mode and log mode, and the data file locations, everything. So this database is created in no archive log mode. So I'll convert this into archive log mode. So before that I need to create one more disk group, the RECO disk group, that will store archive logs. And to check the database on all the nodes, we use the view $gv. We put the G before the view name. That G stands for global, so it shows you the services from all the nodes in the cluster. So $gv is showing 2 entries. It means like there are 2 nodes are there in the cluster where the database is running. Again, the $gv instance showing both of the nodes and the instance name. SP file is on the data disk group, and ERPPR directory is created by the DBCA under the data disk group. And see, the SGA max size is 600 MB. SGA target is same as SGA max size, 600 MB, and the PGA target is 200 MB. So we gave 800 MB as a total memory for this database, so it is distributed among SGA and PGA. Okay, so no archive log location. There is no location for because we have this is not in archive log mode. And anyways, like we will be using DB recovery file dest parameter to set the location for archive logs. And all the data files are Oracle managed files. So later, like if we need to add any of the data file in any of the table space, then we just give the disk group name, and the rest of the things will be taken care by Oracle, because it's Oracle managed file. See, we have selected schema as true, so it has created all the schema, the Scott and HR and all the other schemas. But they are expired and locked. We need to reset the password and unlock this account. Okay, see, all the data files, like all are on data disk group, and all are Oracle managed files, OMF. Temp is also on data shared location. So at this point of time, DB recovery file dest and DB recovery file dest size both are blank, so we will set this parameter. Now the next is like creating a disk group RECO and change database into archive log mode. I'll show you how to create a raw disk for this new disk group. So few validation, few checks. Check disk string into ASM instance. The disk string will be used to create plus RECO disk group. Check for available disk string. Command to create disk group is create disk group RECO external redundancy disk, and then the disk string, the raw disk location. And I'm taking external redundancy because just to save a space, not taking the normal redundancy because that requires 2 disk or dual disk we require. So in external we need to provide one, we need to create only 1 disk. So we are stopping the database by using srvctl status. We are checking the status, it's running on both of the nodes. So we will stop the database. So this is how we use srvctl to check the status of the database -d and the cluster will now see the database is added to the cluster services. It's showing open. So to create another raw disk for RECO disk group, we need to bring down the nodes, both of the nodes. Okay, so updating the etc URL tab on the second node, like we need to give the second instance, so that when we set the environment by using dot space aura env, we can give erppr12 to set the environment. Okay, it's set, so you can do the SQL plus and check we are logged into the database. All right. So I'm just showing now I'm logged into the ASM instance by sysasm privilege SQL plus / as sysasm, and checking the instance host name from $$ instance. It will show the instance where the ASM instances are running. So ASM1 is on VRAC host x1 and ASM2 on VRAC host x2, and we will check the disk and the disk group also, like what is the size of the disk and what view we should use to check the ASM disk and disk group. So we are describing the $ASM underscore disk to check the columns that we need. So set the pages to view the attributes or the columns. So we need from these columns we need the name, and okay, you can pick name, then total MB, free MB, OS MB, header status, the path. So path will show you the disk string, and the header status will show and redundancy is external. So we don't have any unused disk string, because see in the header status it shows us member, so that means both of the disk string are being used by data disk group. So if it has any unused disk, then it shows the status as header status as provisioning or candidate disk. So in disk group we can check from $ASM underscore disk group. We can check the disk group and again the free MB, the total MB, size of the disk group. Okay, so status is mounted. Free MB is you can check is 18 GB something. Yeah, 18 GB, and 20 GB is the total size. So I'm switching to Oracle. So we are stopping the database. srvctl stop database -d erppr. Okay, we need to set the environment first. erppr 1. Oops. Or anyway, erppr 11. That's the instance name. Okay, now we can issue the srvctl stop database -d. So this command will stop the database services on both of the nodes. And we should also stop the cluster services by login as a root user, and then issue the command crsctl stop cluster -all for to bring down the cluster services on all the nodes, and crsctl stop crs to stop the cluster ready services. So now the database is not running. So even if you shut down the machine, first it will stop all the cluster services, but it's better to use a crsctl command to stop all the cluster and crs services before rebooting the machine. But even if you have not done that, you restarted the machine, no worries, it will stop all the cluster services. See, all the cluster services are getting down. Even we don't need to stop the database services, because once we bring down the cluster services, it will bring down the database services as well. So there's no requirement, or there's no need to stop the database if you are going to stop the cluster, and your data will be safe. It will not delete any data or drop any data work. Okay, so both are stopped. Now we need to create a new raw disk for RECO disk group. So we are back to the virtual machine, a virtual box, and we see like ASM01, ASM02 are already there for data disk group. So I clicked on settings, then go to storage, and highlight the controller, the SATA, and click on the second icon, create the VDI virtual box disk image, and this will be fixed size. Select the location of the new disk, ASM03, and the size like 10 GB I would give. So this is created, and we make this disk attribute as a shareable, so that it can be attached to the second node as well. So going to the virtual media manager and highlighting it and making it shareable. So once you make it shareable, it can be attached to the second host. Okay, highlight the Okay, we are highlighting the second node, and go to settings, then storage, then click on the controller, second icon, and choose existing disk, and ASM03 select it, so it will be added as shareable. So once it is done, we start our machine, both the machines. And after restarting the machine, we need to use fdisk command to format this disk, and the location as we have already done in while creating the machine, these two nodes, like under dev mount point, we get this raw disk. So I'm logged in, so the machine is up and running. So I'm checking, like it takes some time to bring up the cluster services, because once we bring up the nodes, the cluster services and database services will be running automatically. So it takes some time to bring up the services on both of the nodes. So now we see like ASM instance is running. So once ASM instance starts running, so we can do our like disk addition work. So we need to run this command from root user, because sorry, it was not up, that's why it's not showing me. So ORASM has privilege to run this cluster. So if you want to stop and start the services, then it has to be done by the root user, but you can check the status by grid user. So crsctl stat res-t command can be issued in the as a grid user to check the state. So see, like a database instance is up, instance, all the services are started. So it's showing instance is shut down. It will bring up the instance as well. If we check it after some time, it will bring up the instance also. So we're going to format the disk by using the fdisk. So under div, we see a new disk is there. SDD is the new disk that we have added, and on the second node also we check the availability of this disk SDD. Yeah, it's there. So we are good to issue this fdisk command, fdisk/dev/std. Then type n for new partition, primary partition, give the default value 1, hit enter, and W for saving it. So it is now formatted. So once it formatted, we get SDD1 disk, the formatted disk. So this SDD1 disk will be used to create the raw disk. This will be used as a raw disk. And this this partition is done in the ext4 type of Linux. So location like etc init.d oracle asm create disk vol03, because vol01 02 we have used for for data disk string, and so we are creating the disk, and we scan the disk and list the disk to show whether it's available or not. Okay, so we see the list disk. So on second node also we verify by running the same command list disks, and it's showing only 2 because we have not scanned it yet on this node. So we need to scan disks. Yeah, now we would be able to see all the disks, like third disk also. So we are now good to create a disk group by using this vol03 raw disk. So we will again go back to grid user, SQL plus as sysasm. So in Oracle 11g, all grid level operation are done by using sysasm privilege. So we will see like a candidate disk will be shown like in the $asm_disk. So that candidate disk will be used for the RECO disk group. So we are picking name, path, OS underscore MB, total underscore MB, and free MB, and the header status of $v ASM underscore disk. Now we see there's one, yeah, it shows provisioned. So this is a candidate for RECO disk group. This is a disk string that we will use while creating the disk group. So we now issue the command. So the command is create disk group, give disk group name, external redundancy, and the disk string, the path. So the disk group is created. We can check by using the same command. Okay, so we see, and the name is given, okay, RECO underscore 0000. We can also check the disk group and its size, free size, and used size by using the ASM cmd-p. It will show you the ASM command prompt and lsdg to check the disk groups. So since this new disk group has been created, so we will go to the database and set two parameters. So first we change the database to archivelog mode, and in that we need to bring down the database and start up the database in mount mode. And after converting the database into archivelog mode, we bring down the database and bring it up again, and then we set the size for DB by using the parameter DB recovery file dest size, and then we give the location for the archive logs by DB recovery file dest parameter, and we need to set the size first by DB recovery file dest size, then only we would be able to set the location for archive logs. Otherwise, if we try to set the location first, then it shows you an error message to set the size first. So we are bringing down the database. I start it in mount mode. So stopping the database. Okay, we check the status. Okay, we are starting it on in mount mode. So -o mount will start database in mount mode. Okay, so we check the status database. Okay, it's now archivelog mode and mounted. So we issue the command alter database archivelog, and this converts the database in archivelog mode. So at this point we can set the size, like at mount also we can set the size, but it will not reflect until we restart the database. And after restarting, we will set the DB recovery file test parameter, like RECO. Okay, now we see like both of the instances are running on VRAC host x1 and x2. So we log in to the database and check like we are in the right database. Then check show parameter DB recovery file test. Now we see like DB recovery file test size is set to 20 GB, and now we need to set the DB recovery file test parameter. So alter system command we use to set this size set this location for DB recovery file test RECO. A scope is equal to both, like it will apply to the current session as well as in the SP file, and since this should be done for both of the instances, so SID is equal to asterisk under quotes. And then we see like show parameter recovery, it's RECO. Then after verifying like archive log list, we do a couple of log switch to generate the archive logs. Okay, log switch is done. So 2 thread is generated. Okay, to check the threads, we are log into the grid user and we'll go to the record disk group from asm-cmd-p, then lsdg, and then we go to RECO, cd RECO, and the database name directory is already there. So under database erppr, we will check the archive log directory, and the archive logs are stored in the current date format directory. So we see like the thread one, two threads are created. So this thread is created on the first node, so that's why it's showing thread 1. So that's all. So we have created the database successfully. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe to Aura Talk. Have a good day.